Hello and welcome to the Best Available Draft Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Minich, and today I am joined by a very special guest, former South Dakota State wide receiver and current NFL draft prospect, Jake Wieneke. Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on, man. Jake, for a little bit of background information, he's a four-year starter for the Jackrabbits. Not only that, he's a four-time first-team All-Missouri Conference performer. For those of you that are uninitiated with the FCS, the Missouri Valley is the number one conference in the football championship subdivision. So that's no small feat getting on there even once, particularly all the way going back to his freshman year. In his career at South Dakota State, Jake had 288 receptions for 5,157 yards and 59 touchdowns. Jake, I get all that right?
What?
288 receptions for 5,157 yards, 59 touchdowns. I get everything in there?
I think so.
All right, man. So first off, how'd you end up at SDSU?
So out of high school, South Dakota State was my only offer. And I remember I came on a visit and just kind of met Coach Stig and all the coaches, and I just fell in love with Coach Stig and just the culture and just who he was as a man, just a great man of God, and outspoken about his faith. And I knew that if I would go to South Dakota State, I would grow as a football player, but also as a man. I mean, it was pretty much a no-brainer, and then also it was my only offer, so it made it pretty easy decision.
Well, that's great when the only offer ends up being the right one. So I know you mentioned Coach Stig. I know he's a very devout man. Been a good friend of mine for many years. Can you tell me a little bit about how important your faith is to you, and how important it was for you to play for a coach that had that same kind of outlook on life?
Definitely. I think just coming into college, I knew that it was a time where kind of being away from my parents and being away from everything I'm used to. It's kind of a place where I could really grow a lot. And thanks to Coach Stig and so many great mentors I had at South Dakota State, I was able to do that. I was able to get plugged in right away with churches and Bible studies and FCA and Coach Stig. I mean, having so many great opportunities with him to volunteer and do work in the community. I mean, there's no better coach for that, I think, in the country than Coach Stig. And just having him and just a mentor. I mean, we'll have Big Pop during fall camp, where it's just a time where Coach Stig will just talk to us about life lessons. I mean, he might bring Bible verses too. He might just bring inspirational quotes, but he's going to help you grow into a better man when you're there. And if you're open to it, he's there to mentor you and guide you also in your faith. And, I mean, he's definitely helped me tremendously. He's been like another father figure for me since I've been in college. Just been able to talk to him really about anything. Well, I mean, specifically for us, we share the same faith in common. So we have a lot of great conversations just about God and about what the Lord is doing in our lives and in Brookings. So it's such a blessing to just play for Coach Stig and be in such a great community where I could really grow a lot as a man and a lot in my faith as well.
Or you say that's something that's helped you to be so successful in college and would help you moving forward, looking for your NFL pursuits?
Definitely. I think, the Lord he's the reason why I do everything, why I do what I do, why I play, and it just gives me the confidence and the hope to just know that I'm loved every time I play, every time I work out, every time I just go through my day, and it just gives me a purpose.
That's awesome. You got to have a purpose. There's got to be a bigger reason, right? I'm with you on that. So now you mentioned about Stig, helping to facilitate, Coach Stig helping to facilitate opportunities for you to give back, to work in the community, things along those lines. You were named to the 2017 All-State Good Works team. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is and what it means to you to receive that honor?
Definitely, that's a pretty cool honor because it's I've met a lot of great other people that are on the team as well from other schools, and it's pretty much just a bunch of guys who do a lot of work in their community, whether it's go on mission trips, do mission trips in their community, work in schools, have nonprofit organizations. There's so many different things that people do. For me, I went on a lot of mission trips through my church and through FCA. And then I also did a lot of volunteering throughout the community, a lot of working with FCA and camps and daycares and football camps. And then also I was a teacher, so I did a lot of stuff in the schools as well and volunteered in ESL classrooms and different things throughout the schools in Brookings. So it was a lot of fun to have those opportunities. And, I mean, I think it's largely in part from Coach Stig. I mean, we had Zenner on that a couple of years before me, was on the same team, just because all the opportunities that Coach Stig gives us to go out. And, I mean, we have so many other players that could be on that same team because they do so much work in the community. So, I mean, it's just a testament to Coach Stig and just who he is and what he believes in and what he does for the community and for all the people in Brookings and the state of South Dakota.
That's awesome. You know, with how much football has become a business, it's great that there are coaches out there that realize there are bigger things and are really teaching guys how to be men and, you know, that things go beyond the football field. So, you know, you mentioned you're from Minnesota. You grew up in Minnesota. You weren't really recruited by anybody outside of South Dakota State. So that give you a chip on your shoulder, you know, not being recruited by the Gophers or by some of those other local Big Ten teams. You say that's something that's motivated you throughout your career?
I mean, definitely. I think just knowing growing up, I wanted to go to Minnesota, just knowing that I was, I guess, a little bit under recruited in different things, just knowing that every day I had to prove myself and to work as hard as I could to be the best I could be, and every day knowing that nothing's going to be given to me. I got to go out there and earn everything. And now continuing as I'm going for the NFL, I got to do the same thing, prove every day, and knowing that nothing's going to be given to me.
That's awesome. So what advantages do you think there are to playing at the FCS level?
Say it again.
What advantages do you think you took from playing at the FCS level?
I just think that we had a great conference. We also got to play against a lot of good teams. And we have to play against FBS schools as well. I mean, it's a great conference. Every week you know you're going to play against a good school. And it's a battle every week.
So you mentioned playing against FBS schools. So in your career, you played 3. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but I've got you played 3 Power 5 schools, 2 Big 12s, and an SEC. And in those 3 games, you combined for 22 receptions for 463 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I know sometimes people talk about your numbers at the FCS level and say, hey, well, you know, what would he do against the big guys? You know, if you multiply that out by a 12-game season, you're looking at 88 receptions for 1,852 yards and 16 touchdowns. You know, based on your average against Power 5 schools. So I'd say that's pretty good. Now, what would you say it is that makes you perform at your best against the top competition?
I mean, I think it's always fun. I mean, you always look forward to those games. And all 3 of those games were the first games of the season, too. So, I mean, you have a lot of time to just think about it and get ready and prepare for it. And then, I mean, just going out there and just competing and just knowing that they're Division I players just like you. And obviously they're might be at a bigger school, higher recruited guys and great athletes. But just knowing that you belong out there. I think we showed that we competed in all those games, won 1 of the 3 games. And then every game I think we showed that we belong.
That's great. So now you talk about it. There's a lot of Division I players out there. There's a lot of receivers in this draft class from all different divisions. A lot of guys, a lot of fish in the sea looking for that NFL chance. What would you say an NFL team is getting with you? What sets you apart from some of those other guys?
I think I'm just someone who comes to work every day, comes to the farm, work as hard as I can, and I'm someone that is going to be there and be the best team I can be and the best player I can be to just do whatever I can do to help the team win. And I think I'm someone that can help trying to change the culture and just bring a great culture of family into any locker room that I go to and just be there and be a contributor.
That's great. So now, in terms of on the field, you know, you talked a little bit about what you can do in the locker room, you know, what kind of work you're putting in. How do you think you can best help a team on the field? What position do you like to be lined up in? You see yourself as more of an outside guy, more of a slot receiver? Where do you think you can contribute the most?
I'd say more of an outside receiver, but I think I can move around to the slot a lot as well. I think that's something that I did a lot in college, kind of moved all over. But I would say I'll typically play on the outside. I think that's where I could definitely contribute, just with my catch radius and ball skills. I think I could help with any team and just kind of understanding routes and defensive schemes, just how to get open, how to make plays. And also I think in the run game, I think I'm a very willing blocker and excited to prove that as well. And then also just on special teams in whatever way I can to help out and contribute there.
All right, that's great. That's it's definitely something you got to do right away. You got to get there and get involved and help out wherever you can. So now, again, in terms of contributing on offense, let's say that your whole season came down to one play. You got one play and it's win or go home. It's a pass play called. You're going to get an opportunity. What route do you want to hear called? When you know they're calling your number, the season's going to be on your line. What's your best route? What's going to help you get open and win that game for your team?
I love a lot of routes. I mean, the game's on the line. If we need a touchdown, I'll just run a go. Just go deep and have the quarterback give me a chance.
I got you. That's great. Yeah, go big or go home, right? I'm with you on that. So now, you mentioned the go route. One thing that really stood out to me on film, watching some of your tape is you've got a great stutter move on your stutter go. Definitely something that can get a defender's feet stuck in the mud there. So that definitely something that stood out. Do you think there's other little nuances to your route running, things like that just minor things like the way you tap your feet, the way you lean your shoulder, things like that, that contribute to how good your route running is, or is it just kind of the big picture?
Definitely, I think just kind of just working on my route craft and just kind of understanding how to get open and doing little things, try to make every route seem the same, but then also make them think that you're running something else. So if I'm running in, make them think I'm running out, or vice versa, getting their blind spot if they're balanced. I mean, different times, just kind of work on that craft, just understanding how to get open and understand how to make the DB think you're going somewhere else, really.
I got you. Okay.
Get separation.
So, for those of those people listening that haven't had a chance to see you play, haven't looked you up on YouTube or anything, who do you compare yourself to in the NFL? What's a good example of the type of player that you think you can be at the next level?
I really like AJ Green, and I think we have similar bodies, similar playing styles, do a lot of similar things, and also I like Larry Fitzgerald. Obviously, he's just such a great person, a hard worker every day, and played for so long and been so successful for so long, dominant for so long, and just his hands and just all that he brings to the table in the run game, blocking, everything that he does. I'm really trying to emulate into my game as well.
I like it. That's great. The two of the top guys in the league. Another Minnesota guy in Fitzgerald. Those are some great comps there. Those are definitely some guys to model your game after. So now I know you participated in the NFL Combine. What about that process kind of stuck out to you? Anything that surprised you or was different than what you expected?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty fun week, pretty surreal week just to be there. Something, I mean, I've dreamt about my whole life, going to the Combine, just to be there. It was just such an awesome opportunity. I had so much fun and was just grateful for the opportunity. I don't know if it made me really surprised. I think I was pretty prepared for it all. I guess it was kind of a long process before you ever get to like the Saturday where you actually perform. A lot of interviews, meetings, evaluation, and stuff like that. But then I was trying to cherish it and just enjoy every second of it. I had a lot of people texting me and encouraging me, praying for me, and I was really, really at peace and really able to enjoy the whole week, even the stuff that maybe wouldn't be so fun. I was really able to enjoy it.
That's great. So you mentioned the interviews. You hear all the time about people being asked really weird questions at the combine. Did you have anybody ask you anything kind of weird? Obviously, you don't have to say who it was or anything like that, but any weird questions?
No, I really didn't. I had all my answers or all my questions were pretty straightforward, and I didn't really have anything out of the normal. But I mean, yeah, I heard about some other people getting asked some pretty crazy questions, and I think I kind of want to see how you would respond to it. But I mean, I didn't really get asked anything like that. Got pretty basic, a lot of X and O's, kind of just getting to know me a little bit. So,
all right. So I know South Dakota State's Pro Day is coming up March 29th. What are you doing to prepare for that?
I'm back down in McKinney, Texas, training at Michael Johnson Performance, and just kind of I'm gonna pretty much do all the testing again. So kind of preparing for all of those, and then also getting ready to run routes and do all of that as well. So just kind of polishing up everything and getting another chance at it after the combine.
Oh, that's great. So what can we expect of you? You got anything in particular you're expecting to shave a little time off of, or add a couple inches to, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to improve on everything. I think my combine numbers weren't exactly what I wanted. I thought I could do a little bit better on everything. So I'm looking forward to another opportunity.
All right. Well, that's all I've got for you for right now. So I really appreciate you coming on. It was a pleasure. Always good to have a fellow Jackrabbit to have a conversation with. Once again, good luck moving forward. Good luck at your pro day, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are very excited to hear your name called in a few weeks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all.